The man was horrified to discover that the hotel was shrinking with each passing night. So the man tested his suspicions. He hung a rope between two walls, and the next morning, the rope that had been taut really loosened up. The length of the rope didn't change. That could only mean that the two walls were getting closer together. He immediately told all the cooks about this terrible news. What's even more frightening is that there's no exit from this hotel. The chefs and the tenants had lived here for more than 10 years without ever leaving. If the house continued to shrink, they would all die here sooner or later. But no one seemed to care about this life-threatening matter except him. The cooks worked together to throw him out of the kitchen. John was a traveling magician. He's got a magic show tomorrow at a cafe in this town, so he improvised by finding a hotel nearby. The receptionist was a one-eyed old lady. John got a single room. He went to bed early that night to build up his energy for tomorrow's show. But the next morning, he left the hotel with 2 suitcases, but he realized he couldn't find the exit no matter what. The stairway that he came up yesterday was now a wall. It didn't look like it had been built last night. While he was wondering, the old pipe suddenly began to shake and make a metallic clashing sound, and then the wall began to vibrate. John put his ear close to the wall and listened. He only heard a strong thumping sound like a heartbeat. The lights in the corridor began to flicker, and many small doors opened from the walls. A band came out from inside the small door. They played their music and approached John's direction. John was puzzled for a moment by all the strange happenings, so he took his bags and turned around to make room for the band. But just around the corner, he collided with the waiter who was serving the food, and the waiter handed John his plate. And that's how he somehow became a member of the hotel kitchen. He followed the woman in charge to the kitchen. In addition to those busy chefs in the kitchen, the most noticeable thing is the ingredients. It seems that every dish is made with eggs. Eggs and duck eggs and goose eggs and quail eggs and all kinds of eggs. They were sent from a conveyor to the back kitchen in a steady stream. John stood in the back kitchen not knowing what to do. Then he was forced by the woman to put on an apron and start working, and John was envied by the others, because everyone here had worked for decades before coming to the kitchen, and John had only been here for a few minutes before he was assigned to it. John explained that he was just passing through, but the man across from him looked as if he had seen something terrible, suddenly looked down and concentrated on his work and stopped talking. John turned to see the head chef staring at them, but not only did he not care, he even played a magic trick in front of the head chef. The head chef just stared at them for a few moments and then left, and the cooks live in a dormitory. Although the living environment is not satisfactory, but they always have fun at the end of the day. They sang and danced with the only musical instruments they had. John was also enjoying himself. Suddenly he was interrupted by a noise from the house, but when he turned his head to look at the other colleagues, no one seemed to notice the noise except him. He went to the door and listened carefully to find the source. The sound was like the cracking of 2 walls crushing wooden boards in the center. Then John had a wild guess. He tried to measure the width of the corridor with his long arm, and realized that he couldn't touch both walls at the same time. John laughed bitterly thinking he was imagining things.